Last month, the governor's office introduced a program called the Hope Grant to help people facing eviction. But now the time to apply has passed, and we know many people still need help with rent and utilities. So today, Two Wants to Know is getting your eviction questions answered by an expert. I'm joined today by Holly Owner with Legal Aid of North Carolina to answer your eviction-related questions. And you can text your questions to 336-379-5775. The number will also stay at the bottom of your screen as we go through this Q&A period. All right, so Holly, first and foremost, the moratorium is there, but you have to do something to get that moratorium protection.
Right. Thank you for having me back and giving me an opportunity to talk about this. So there's a federal eviction moratorium under the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. And they have released a form called the CDC Declaration Form. You can find it online. You can just Google CDC Declaration Form. Tenants need to download it, print it, sign it, date it, and deliver it to their landlord. But also, the governor of North Carolina, Governor Cooper, issued a North Carolina specific eviction moratorium to go along with the federal moratorium. And that says that landlords must also provide blank forms to the tenants if they file for eviction against a tenant. So the tenants can also get blank forms from their landlords if their landlords are going to even try to move forward with an eviction against them.
Okay, so this document that we've got up right now, it's got several different criteria on it. Can you explain a little bit of what the criteria entails so that people will know, yes, I'm covered with this, or no, I couldn't be covered with this?
Yes, the most important things to notice, the most important criteria that sometimes people don't meet is, one, you have to have made your best efforts to get some type of, or apply to some type of rental assistance. So that can be, was through the HOPE program. The HOPE program is temporarily closed right now. It can also be through any kind of local rental assistance organization. I practice in Greensboro. Here we have the Greensboro Housing Coalition. We have Greensboro Urban Ministry, Salvation Army, the Welfare Reform Liaison Project. Those are some of the local resources that provide rental assistance. So you'll just have to look in your particular county about where has rental assistance, and you need to make your best efforts to apply. You don't need to be approved. You don't need to get money. You don't even need to necessarily reach them. You just need to take efforts to try to get that kind of assistance. The second really important thing is that the tenant has had a substantial loss of income or of household income. So that can mean losing your job, having a reduction in your hours, maybe your spouse or adult child who typically helps you pay the rent has had a loss of income. Something like that doesn't necessarily have to be specifically due to COVID, but there has to be a substantial loss of household income that made it such so that you can't make your rent. Those are the two main criteria that most people need to make sure that they've met. Some of the others are that you have a household income of less than $99,000 for one person, or I think it's $198,000 for two. You need to make sure that you know that your rent is still due. You need to make your best efforts to make partial payments. Those are most of the criteria.
Okay, and so again, that is the form from the CDC. We have it for you on our website so that we're able to link you to it. So we will show you the web story in just a minute. But we have a couple of questions that are on that. They say, what happens if you were in the process of being evicted before COVID hit?
Okay, if you have a pending eviction action, this protects you if the eviction action is for non-payment of rent and you meet those criteria. It doesn't matter when the action was initiated. You just need to be facing eviction for non-payment of rent, and you've signed and delivered a CDC declaration, which you can do in court.
Okay, this person says, I was approved for the HOPE program. They approved me for 6 months. However, I got a call from them saying my landlord won't accept those funds. Do I have any recourse?
That's a really good question. So part of getting the HOPE funds is that the landlord agrees to sign a landlord-tenant agreement. That's given out by the HOPE program, the agreement is. And if the landlord doesn't agree to sign it, then the tenant and landlord don't get the funds. But Governor Cooper's order says that if you've been deemed eligible for the HOPE program, you cannot be evicted through December 31st, 2020. So really the only recourse for a person in that situation is look for funds in other places. Like I said, there are other organizations that have money. I know of the ones in Guilford County, but I know that there are others across the state, and know that you are protected through the rest of the year. But you won't receive the HOPE money if your landlord doesn't agree to participate.
But you are not technically out of your house evicted until December 31st. That would be the last ending time. Okay, we're going to continue to answer your questions. We do want to show you that we do have a article up in the Who Wants to Know section that talks about this eviction moratorium and that renters need that declaration form to be protected. There is a link for you to the CDC so that you can print out and download that information, and we'll be right back with more of your questions.